Dan soek ons die ander. Die ander is binne in die veerpad. Hy binne in die veerpad. Hy wil kry. Hy binne in die veerpad. Is dit Vrystaat? Nee, dit is daar in Robbie dood. Julle is dit hulle genoem. Yes, dit is die veerpad. Nou by vraag is daai kry ook in die veerpad. Wat is in die veerpad doen? Op die sypaai.
Dit wil blijkbaar wat op daai pen op die veerpad. Maar so ek sê ons dis hoekom ek op 'n volg gesê verstaan nie.
Dit is Christoffel volg vra, maar kan ons nie in die beleid goed nee goed.
Rihanna, ek toets net, kan jy ons hoor? Sy kom ons. Rihanna, ons kon jou nou nie hoor, kan jy weer praat?
Ek probeer, so ek het net op my skerm probeer.
Gerard, ek het myself gemute.
Okay. Nee, goed, ons hoor jou baie mooi, kan jy ons hoor?
Hard en duidelik, baie dankie.
Dankie, Rihanna.
Gerard, net gou vir die presensielys. Wie is saam met jou in die job?
By my sit Johan Kompion en meneer Clive Africa.
Okay, baie dankie.
Hey, you rockstar. On yourself? I was just worried that it says 2021 to 2022. I said, no, can't be. 2021. They said, no, it's 21 to 22. Yeah. That's it. One never gets too old to learn. How's my mother? I'm fine.
Middag speaker, mense.
Middag, Councillor De Vries.
Hi, how are you?
Kom klink
jy so vrolik.
Huh?
Jy so vrolik.
As dat nou fout. Mens moet whatever gegooi word na jou kant toe moet jy mos nou lekker vat man. And I'm glad actually to join you guys because I was not going to join yourself. I already put in apology. So my other meetings het 'n bietjie vroeg klaar gemaak.
Okay.
Jy sien as jy smile na jy voor 'n parliament committee was, dan was dit ook daarom alright geweest.
Oh ja, hy must know your day job.
Come again?
Hy must know your day job. Alderman is nou 'n klein speelietjies vir jou. Steven, was dit op 408 geweest?
Nee, dit was op die parlement se site, Facebook page. Gewoonlik, daar was 'n hybrid sitting in parliament, so hy was op 408. Sommige kere sal hulle die hearings later in die week of sommige kere in die middel van die nag. Because ek ook kyk because dit was
information met ons share man.
Ek sê ja, because gewoonlik is dit op Facebook, op parliament se Facebook page, dan het al die committees se hearings live. En vir een of ander rede was die committees nie vandag live nie, daar was 4 ander wat dieselfde tyd plaasgevind het en alles was live geweest op Facebook. So op Facebook sit jy net in gewoonlik in parliament en dan scroll jy down vir die dag en sal jy sien wat van die goed live is en dan van dit kan jy agterna dan gaan ook weer kan jy luister dan.
Ek hoop jy het jou parliamentarians ge-embarrass daarso nie. Ek hoop jy het jou parliamentarians. Kyk, is moeilik om daar as 'n chairperson te gaan antwoord gee en jy weet jy slimmer as hulle.
Jy is nou ja nee jy kan nie dit van ons onder members sê nie, councillors Pies. Ons moet baie versigtig wees.
Is alright, is nog voor die meeting, ons kom by doen.
Ek kry môre sommer ding is 'n groot e-mail. Jy sien nou wie is dit nou weer wat in moeilikheid is, een van die ministers ook van 'n e-mail wat die ronde doen.
Ek wil juist vir Cyril vra, kan enige iemand aanmeld by die ANC se committees? Hy 7-page letter wat hy gestuur het. Dat hy gesê ons moet name and shame.
Yes, ja, jy kan skryf aan hom. President is baie oop. Hy sal vir jou acknowledgement stuur.
Ek wil gou kyk of Chengwa lees. Ek wil kyk of ek sy naam eers kan gooi nie. Councillor Chengwa nog nie op die groepie.
I can't see.
Nee, hy is nog nie. Het baat ek maak sulke jokes en hy is hier nie.
Leave our ANC this alone, man. Councillor Pies, moenie so wees nie.
Ja, ek kan julle alleen los. Die vraag is, gaan die mense julle alleen los?
Witte mense.
Die diehard supporters.
Soos praat jy van die diehard supporters soos jy nou?
Hey, dis te veel dia mense op die groep. Jy kan nie sulke goed praat nie.
Maar die ANC
môre word daar gesê ek hou nog private meetings met julle. Jy weet ek het Jace 'n hele goeie tydjie met Oscar gespandeer by Tities Bay. Mens weet nooit wie
okay.
mens weet nooit wie foto's gevat het.
Ek moet ook kan my boek laat teken deur hom. Hy's 'n nuisner.
Nee, dis hoekom ek dit gesê het nou.
Ja, hy's 'n nuisner.
Hallo Steven,
Middag Piet.
ek dog jy gaan nie by die meeting wees nie.
Ek kan nou net laat weet dat ek gaan
Councillor De Vries, jy's op mute, maar jy praat.
miskien 'n goeie ding dat ek op mute is.
Ek gemute of is ek ge-unmute? Nou is ek ge-unmute. Kom mekaar nie deus man. Wat is die storie?
Piet en Steven, julle raak albei oud.
Wat gaan met hulle twee aan? Ek dink Steven praat op die phone of iets.
Ek probeer vir Steven iets sê, maar hulle mute my aan mekaar. What's going on? I can't hear anything. Anybody there?
Councillor van der Hoeven, dit lyk asof ons nog nie begin het nie. Ek hoor ook niks. Weet nie wat hier aangaan nie.
So, nou is ek so bly ek kan jou hoor. Heerlikheid, dis 'n groot verrassing.
Nee, is reg.
Dankie, Councillor Wolmerans vir die link.
Plesier. Maar dit lyk ons het nog nie begin nie, Councillor.
Dit lyk of die meeting begin het.
Maar waar is ons
gaan al die elder ladies en elder men op die groep.
Hoe kan die meeting begin het, maar ons hoor niks? Wat gaan hier in? Councillor De Vries?
Steven, lyk my ek en jy moet
Piet, jy het mos 'n agenda. Jay is die speaker en Steven is die MM. Kom ons begin.
Opportunity to address you if you can hear me. We start.
begin, speaker.
Yes, I've already.
We already started and Stephen and I closed the meeting.
Chief Whip, can you hear me?
We are on the agenda.
Chief Whip.
Comrade Machila, I can hear you clearly.
Thank you, Chief Whip.
Are you well?
Thanks, yourself.
I'm getting.
Well, I'm very well. They're going to mute me now, so I'm very well. Thank you. Good to see you.
Can I please?
Thank you, Chief.
Can I please ask you if you can hear me to mute yourself? This meeting is already proceeding. We are already on point 3.1. We the roll call to ask each and every councillor just name himself or herself as being present at this meeting. My apologies, you didn't ask me before this. I was not aware that he couldn't hear me.
Jennifer Hartnick.
Thank you.
Sharon May. I'm sorry.
Councillor Justin Fry.
Councillor Struble.
Councillor Machila.
Speaker, Councillor Lusu Kochokolo.
Councillor Busak.
Councillor Ivan Mangaliso.
Councillor Rowan Spies.
Councillor Lamujin.
Councillor Jocelyn Jordan. Councillor May.
Seeing that there is silence, I am reporting that Councillor van der Hoeven is here. Councillor Kamti has requested leave of absence because she has a test for COVID-19, haven't received the result. Vanolia Gungubelu thought the meeting was at 11 o'clock and she had another urgent arrangement at 2 o'clock. Councillor Chaba submitted an apology. And Councillor Steven De Vries indicated that he will be late, but I see he is here.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. That is Councillor leave. Yes, I've also formally received application for leave of absence and it's been approved. Councillor Gundele, Councillor Chaba, who's attending a masterclass. Deputy Executive Mayor, Councillor Reuters. May I ask Ms. Matthews, do we have all the councillors present? Councillor Mapitiza.
Yes, Speaker. Yes, Speaker. I'm in.
Thank you, Councillor. Can we then proceed? Are we all together?
Speaker, did you hear me? Roger Gericke?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Alderman Gericke.
Afternoon, everybody.
Thank you. Can we then move to the conferment of Elder Lady? Can I ask our good advocate to proceed and our executive mayor, Alderman Memory Boyson, to proceed with this, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. The item is found on pages 9 to 11, and the recommendation is from page 11, and it reads as follows. The recommendation is that the title of Elder Lady conferred on the following serving councillor who qualifies in terms of the criteria as contained in the policy for the conferment of the alderman, elder lady honor, and in the manner as contained in this report. And the councillor concerned will be conferred with this honor is Councillor Tobeka Daisy. We will then just request Speaker for the proposal and secondment, and then we can hand over to the Executive Mayor Alderman to confer the honor. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Advocate. You've got a recommendation that the title of Elder Lady be confirmed. The following councillor who qualifies in terms of the criteria contained in the policy for the containment of Elder Lady and Alderman's honor. And
I propose, Speaker. I propose.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
I will second, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman van Hoeven. My apologies in the chambers. Please, when you want to speak, just keep on pressing the button. It works differently from others, perhaps. Yes, please proceed. Thank you, Advocate.
Thank you, Speaker. We will now ask the Executive Mayor, Alderman Boyson, and Councillor Daisy to come forward. And Mr. Herman is here to take pictures. The Executive Mayor will then hand over the certificate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ask me. Sumi. Padahal anti-nes antwoord nog niet voor mij, zit nog niet op het tele. Ja, je kan sustain, hè.
Mute alsjeblieft, Lamborghini.
Ano?
Lamborghini, los je outsourcing manieren alsjeblieft, man. Los net je outsourcing manieren. Mute hij computer van jou, alsjeblieft.
Thank you. Can we please give our good councillor a hand and congratulations. Elder Lady, it's really an honor to congratulate you on this well-deserved honor that's being bestowed on you. I really feel honored that you are part of our team and that you forever share your wisdom and your knowledge with us as a collective. But it really, you make my day, and I hopefully we made yours as well today. And thank you so much for informing us of your history of being a public representative, so that we were able to bestow this honor upon you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you would like to from your side also say a word or two, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to concur with what you just said, that it is also an indication that really this team of the Garden Road District as a municipality, the history put together amongst ourselves is priceless. And I want to congratulate Councillor Tacy to say that keep on doing the good work within your community, and congratulations on your bestowment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor.
Speaker,
Yes, Ms.
Councillor
Matthews.
Wolmerans and Van der Hoeven raise their hands.
Thank you. In that order, Elder Lady Wolmerans and then Alderman van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Speaker. I also just want to congratulate my fellow colleague. Myself and her is coming a very long way. We've both been councillors since 2006, and we went on that executive leadership development program for councillors together between 2009 and 2010. So I'm glad that she has also joined us now. And I know that she will keep on doing the good work that she's doing in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman Wolmerans. We're looking forward to both of you lecturing us in your free time. When we're having lunch or whatever, then you can entertain us with this, with your wisdom regards leadership. Thank you very much, Elder Lady Wolmerans. Alderman van der Hoeven.
Speaker, if there is one person that deserves this, then it is Councillor Alderman Tobeka Tacy. Tobeka Tacy is not very vocal in council, but I can tell you there's no one who's more in touch with the community and who do the work and can organize and make sure things happen. So on behalf of the ANC, we applaud Councillor Alderman Tobeka Tacy.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Hoeven.
Speaker, Alderman Gericke raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
Thank you, Speaker. Just to say congratulations to Lady Tacy en in Afrikaans sê ons mooi geloop.
Thank you very much, Alderman Gericke. Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move to the next item on our agenda? That is noting the provisions of Schedule 1 of the Code of Conduct for Councillors as contained in the Local Government Municipal Systems Act 2000, Schedule 1. We note that. I take it that all councillors do have the Systems Act in their possession, because the Act is clear that you must have the Code of Conduct in every meeting place of the municipality. It's a new challenge regards this, the Zoom and Teams meetings. I know that it's displayed in our council chambers and all the committee rooms. But thank you for noting that. Can we then move to the disclosure of interest by councillors and or officials? Any pecuniary interest, item 5 of our agenda that you would like to declare? Regards any item on our agenda today? I don't hear any voices or see any indication. Can we then move? I would first of all like to change the agenda a bit to say that Mr. Executive Mayor, Alderman Boyson, I would like to give you the first opportunity to address us. Thank you very much, Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, once again, I'd like to say thank you to all the public representatives, the people who are in the front line of fighting COVID-19. We know it continues to cause havoc within our district, but not just within our district, in South Africa as a whole. And we do the best we can to fight this. And Mr. Speaker, we were also privileged as this district in our fight and in our awareness campaigns on COVID-19. For the past 2 weeks, we hosted firstly the Minister of Public Works and Transport within the Western Cape, Minister Madikizela. And then for another couple of 4 days after him, we hosted the Minister of Health, Minister Nomafre Shimbombo. And Mr. Speaker, again, we will have the privilege. Tomorrow we'll be hosting the Premier's office. And the day thereafter, we will be hosting the Minister of Human Settlements, Minister Simmons. And it's all part of the program of dealing with COVID-19 within the Garden Route. We will be having awareness campaigns. We will be visiting various areas, especially the hotspots within the Garden Route. And these are all efforts, Mr. Speaker, from the Premier, in terms of him being very concerned about our figures currently within the Garden Route. But I must say, Mr. Speaker and councillors, that because these figures change on an hourly basis or on a daily basis, the last time I checked, Mr. Speaker, that we were privileged that we could flatten the curve. But I'm sure we will get more information when we deal with that item, because there might be some new figures that has been released. And in the same time, Mr. Speaker, we will never forget the friends we've lost through COVID-19. And we know that some are staff members, and some of our staff members have lost family members like fathers, brothers, and sisters. Our prayers will always be with them. And I'd also want to praise God, Mr. Speaker, that we do have survivors as well within our midst. Some of our councillors survived, some of our staff members survived. And we continue to pray that everybody who's been infected will survive this if we stay within the regulations and do what is necessary and what the health practitioners are asking us to do. We pray that that would happen, that we're not going to lose any more lives. And then also, Mr. Speaker, it's still a grappling matter that gender-based violence have not subsided. And I've just heard this morning, Mr. Speaker, that within our district, where a lady again was murdered by either a husband or boyfriend. I don't have the details. But Mr. Speaker, we should not keep quiet, and we must continue to fight that. And I know it's one of the things that you remind us on a daily basis, which you just did when you opened this meeting. But there are still some bad, rotten men out there, and we need to identify them, Mr. Speaker, and we need to isolate them. Either for them to get help, and but we need to stand by our sisters, our mothers, and our nieces, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, lastly, we know that we're sitting with the current incident. Our deputy mayor, she's also lost a sister, and I'm not even sure whether she'll be able to attend this meeting, but our prayers are with them as well, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Thank you, Alderman. Under my communications, I would just like to congratulate our colleague, Councillor Ben van Wyk, on his birthday today.
Speaker, my hand was up, Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Wilson.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to raise two things, Speaker. Number one, I am not going to labor the issue of COVID-19 now, because there are items in the agenda, and we will deal with that there. So I'm not going to react to what the mayor has said. Also, just our condolences to everyone who lost family members and dear loved ones due to the COVID-19 and whatever other reasons. And then, as far as gender violence is concerned, we in the ANC echo what has been said, but we are not just against gender violence, we are against violence in all terms. And if you can stop violence, then gender violence will also be gone.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Wilford. Matthew.
Alderman Gericke also raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Please proceed.
Baie dankie. Yeah, Speaker, thank you. Our heartfelt condolences to the Deputy Mayor on the loss of her sister, And also condolences to everybody else in the district, region, staff members for the loss of a next of kin or relatives. We trust that they will find comfort in the arms of the Holy Spirit. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to be long myself, just another concern. The mayor has mentioned about visits at hotspots and so on. We've been to certain areas the other day, and I want the mayor to take seriously note about this. And we've learned from certain people that work in town that they have been asked by their employers, since they are coming from hotspots, to stay at home and not to come to work because of this thing of stigmatization. And although those people did not test positive, but they were asked to stay at home. I just calling on council to be very sensitive when we go out, when we visit these areas, not to increase the notion of stigmatization, or not even to try to grandstand and try to score political points, but to do something indeed for those people in need. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Alderman Gericke. Can we then proceed? Thank you. Under my communications, I would just like to repeat congratulations to our City Councillor Ben van Wyk, who has his birthday today. I see that the councillors of George City Council would like to be excused at 16 hours to attend to their meeting. If I'm correct. That's the message that I've received. So let's adhere to that. So Councillor van Wyk, we will join you after that meeting then. Thank you for the invite to have some nice cake and stuff at your place. We will attend a bit later on. But let me also then congratulate other councillors that will also have their birthdays in September. It's Councillor Mbandezi on the 10th of September. Councillor Johnson on the 16th of September. Councillor Tsengwa and Councillor Fry, is it on the 30th of September? Many happy returns and God bless. Wishing you everything of the very best for your new year and enjoy your birthday. That's all from my side. Municipal Manager, it's your turn. Thank you very much, Mr. MM, Mr. Monistrato. Looking forward to listening to you. Thank you.
It's a taller Mondestrato. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, Executive Mayor, and the members of the Mayoral Committee present, as well as all the councillors and colleagues. The municipal manager has tendered his apology. He's not feeling well, so he's booked off sick, so then I've been requested to act. Mr. Speaker, mine is not going to be long, but just to let on what the mayor had indicated, that as you know, that the district is having the biggest challenges in terms of around the issue around COVID-19, and you'd recall that the president now made a declaration some weeks back that we are currently on level 2. And therefore, we've been having 1/3 of our workforce since lockdown. And we are currently now trying to gradually increase that number so that we can have a full staff complement by next week. We've tested all our measures and systems that we have put in place from the beginning of the hard lockdown that was then implemented, and then so we feel comfortable and ready that we can have everyone by the 31st of September next week. There's a number of teams that is working around the clock to ensure that the workplace becomes a very safer environment, as it has always been for all the staff. And then also around the whole issue, we've also been affected here at work with regards to the number of COVID cases. I can report that we've got, we had 31 cases of staff that were actually affected, and then no one has been hospitalized, and of the 31, 28 have recovered. And then we've got currently one active case that has been reported to us, and unfortunately we had 2 fatalities during the course of that. You will notice, councillors, as well in the agenda that we are bringing in a revised processed plan for the annual report, and that has been prompted by the 2 months extension that was done by the Minister of Finance with regards to the submission of the annual financial statements and the annual report due to these challenges with COVID-19. And Auditor General has also appealed to say that they are currently busy with the Public Finance Management Act, which is a PFMA audits at this particular point in time. The comments late, and therefore they would only be able to issue reports at the end of February or March, early March next year. So hence now that we are, as you know, that at the meeting of this nature, when we are approaching the end of the financial, the end of August, we would be submitted. It was a custom that we would submit the annual financial statements as well as the unaudited report in terms of Circular 63, and that's not the case now. So we've also followed that 2-month submission late extension that has been granted by the Minister of Finance and given concurrence by the Auditor General. So those are the issues on our side as management. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Menzi, Acting Municipal Manager. And we wish our Municipal Manager speedy recovery. Whilst you were speaking, I was reminded of the newsflash last night. It's Monday and Menzi. And last night I heard that Tito Mboweni and Trevor Manuel, both are TM. So you are both MM. But thank you very much, Acting Municipal Manager. We appreciate the information that you shared with us. Can we then please move to the approval of minutes of the council meeting? That's page 9. It's a minutes of the council meeting. It was held on the 27th of July, 2020. You find it from pages 12 to 50. Only correction I would like to make, and my congratulations to our secretariat for a faultless, excellent minute keeping of our council meeting. Only from my side, I always wanted to say something. So yes, we only took cognizance in the Afrikaans version of the MACO meeting, and we didn't approve it. Ons het dit nie goedgekeur nie, ons het net kennis geneem. I must say something at least, even if it's just one correction. I'll do it. Thank you for the opportunity, but thank you. You've got the minutes. Can we have any proposal and seconder on the correctness of the minutes, please?
I still propose, Chair. I will second.
Thank you, Elder Lady Katsina. Thank you. Is that Councillor Johnson? Yeah. Thank you. Can we then move to item 10 on our agenda? It's the minutes of the Mayoral Committee meeting. You've got it there. It's the MACO meeting that was held on the 30th of June, 2020, pages 51 to 77 for our cognizance. We take note of that. Thank you. Can we then also take note of the Budget Steering Committee meeting of the 24th of March, the Education, Training and Development Committee meeting that was on the 28th of May, the Occupational Health and Safety meeting that was held on the 14th of May 2020, APAC that was held on the 30th of April 2020, APAC that was held on the 2nd of March 2020. Can we please also take note of this? I see the hands there. Thank you.
Alderman van der Hoeven raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Speaker. I hope you can hear me well. I just got a question. The Budget Steering Committee's meeting was on the 24th of March. It's now almost the beginning of September. What is the purpose of bringing that meeting here Surely that reference to the budget, and we should have seen it before the budget was tabled at the end of May. Perhaps I can be rectified if I'm wrong.
Any response from our administration side? I think it's just that for completeness sake, we think that we have to submit all those minutes that haven't been noted by council thus far. And I think it was part of a cleanup. I don't want to use the word cleanup, catch up, that we want to present it to council just to formally take note of those minutes. Although it had been distributed previously, this is just for formal notification of council. Am I correct in my assumption?
That's correct, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item, we've noted the items on the minutes of item 9. Can we then move to item 12? It's the appointment, service exits, and labor relations information for July 2020. Find it on pages 137 to page 143. Lady Kritzinger, if there's anything from your side, it's your portfolio, you're most welcome to present it to us.
Thank you, Chair. That is a standing item that comes to Council every month to inform us regarding appointment, service exits, and labour relations information that has taken place for the month of July. So nothing funny, nothing sinister about it. I want to propose that we accept this report. Thank you.
Thank you for cognizance. Thank you, Councillor. Elder Lady.
Mr. Speaker.
Just a second. Thank you, Alderman van Gericke. I would first just like to give Elder Lady, our brand new Elder Lady JC, an opportunity to address council. Thank you, ma'am. Please proceed.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Please
Thank
proceed.
you, Speaker. Speaker, I just want to welcome the report the way it is. There's nothing to ask. Let us thank the opposition by keeping us on toes so that we can do things on a proper way. Thank you for that. Secondly, Speaker, I asked a question last council meeting, but if the response is here, I will apologize. The question was about the employee that was dismissed based on medical grounds, but I don't see the response here.
Thank you. That was the question. May I ask that when we discuss those issues that we accept the fact that the names of those people are privileged, and we do not mention their surnames and their names publicly, but let's address the policy of the principal issue. Thank you very much, Elder Lady. We can wait for a response. I would just like to give Alderman Gericke also an opportunity, and then we can proceed to provide responses to your input. Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
No, I don't have a lot to say, Speaker. I'm just trying to say the last time we were reprimanded by the mayor and by yourself, if we have nothing to say, let us rather than not say anything because we're holding the meeting up. You will recall at the governance meeting, Councillor Spies bemoaned the fact that the meeting is almost running late because of all the people wanting to say something, and some of the things that we say are not of meaning. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. Elder Lady Kritzinger, would you like to respond to Elder Lady JC's input?
Chair, I don't know if Trix is on, if Trix is in the meeting. I've got no idea whatsoever. So as far as the finer detail of this is concerned, I'm not privileged to the information. So I would ask that we will come back to Elder Lady JC regarding that and your question.
Thank you very much, Elder Lady. I see that Elder Lady JC is nodding her head, so it's acceptable for that. Thank you. Then we note the report.
Noted, sir.
Thank you. Can we then move to section B? Reports from the executive mayor. It's a rollover and additional allocation adjustment budget 2020 to 2021. It's a medium-term revenue and expenditure framework. Find it on pages 144 to page 183. Thank you, Alderman Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, once again, this will go without saying that due to the lockdowns and extensions being granted from treasuries at national level as well as at provincial level, we are now sitting with unforeseen circumstances where we could not perform certain actions. And due to the lockdown, some of the budgets went unspent. And I therefore now table this report, Mr. Speaker, for approval and adoption by council, that these are the matters in front of us that were all due to the circumstances at hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman Executive Mayor. B1, there is, can you just show to, yes, Ms. Matthews?
Alderman Gericke raised his hand.
Alderman Gericke, please proceed. Alderman Gericke, can you hear me?
Sorry, Speaker. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay, I'm going to be very short. I struggled to read the contents of this report because the print is very fine and small. But I just want to understand from the mayor, in terms of this rollover budget, what is the amount budgeted? Where do we find the COVID-related expenditure? And also expenditure for the future in terms of COVID and what it will entail, please.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Is any other input or questions or comments that you would like to submit? Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Alderman raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven. Please proceed.
Speaker, I notice that the rollovers are actually very few rollovers, and the majority of the rollovers is from the roads department, and seemingly it is basically that work could not have been done because of the lockdown period. So I don't think there are many issues that we need to elaborate on this one, if I am correct. If I am not, please point out if there are any red lights that we need to deal with.
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven. Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Executive Mayor. Would you like to respond?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I won't have the exact COVID-related expenditure at this stage because it happens on a daily basis, not unless the finance department might have a roundup on this, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, may I request Ms. Wook to provide all the details.
Thank you very much, Acting MM. Thank you, Ms. Hook. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Speaker. With regards to this budget that we're tabling, this is just for the rollover budget and the 3 million additional allocation that we received. This is not for the COVID-related expenditure budget that we are tabling this budget for, but purely for the rollover of the grants and the equitable share. We do reporting on the COVID expenditure, so we can report at the next council meeting. We can prepare a comprehensive report regarding the COVID expenditure that we have incurred from March up to date. If that is a wish from the councillors, then we can table a separate report just with regards to COVID expenditure. But this is not included in this budget.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hook. Please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Maybe just to add on the COVID-19 expense, one of the committees of council, which is MPEC, is also looking at that expenditure. we prepared a report and submitted to MPEG last week of all COVID-related expenditure from March up until to date. And they've looked at the expenditure and refer that report to internal audit. Secondly, we have also received a separate request prior to that from the Office of the Auditor General, where they have requested the same, and they will be doing their own audit on the COVID-19 related expenditure. Then they will report to us as part of the audit report. But as I said, parallel to that, there is our own internal process where we're using the MPEG as well as our own internal audit to look at those reports. When those reports are ready, the committees of the council, probably at a later stage as well, the council will get it.
Thank you very much for that response. Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Councillor Space, and then Alderman van der Westhuizen.
Thank you, Councillor Spies, and then Alderman van der Westhuizen.
Thank you, Speaker. I was just going to say that this is a report specifically about the rollover applications and the additional equitable share. There are two other items in the agenda that deals with direct COVID-related deviations, and if there are any other expenses, then that any other expenditure, then that's a separate report. But surely we have to stick to what we're discussing in this item.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Can we have any further input? Can you please?
Speaker, my hand is up.
Sorry, thank you, Alderman van der Westhuizen.
I just wanted to know, Speaker, I see our cash on page 174. On page 174 has dropped quite a lot. Can we just get a short explanation? And I'm also just questioning the column on page 165 on top there. It says approved budget of 2022, 21, 22. Surely that cannot be the approved budget. It is estimated budget or whatever. Surely not approved. It's only approved. It's a multi-year budget, but we only approve the current budget.
Thank you, Alderman van der Westhuizen. Acting Member, would you like Ms. Hoek to respond to that?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Ms. Hoek. Can you please respond to that?
Thank you. The reason for the drop in the cash is just the reallocation of how we classify the cash. Your short-term cash that's in the bank or available within 30 days will form part of your cash and cash equivalent balance. And then you will have your long-term investments that's a non-current asset. I'm just a bit lost on the heading because Rihanna went a bit too fast. So I'm just looking at the column that Councillor van der Westhuizen referred to with regards to the approved budget. Rihanna, can you just go, I think it was page 174, if I remember correctly.
174. Up. Go up.
See. Okay, is it 173 that if we look at the headings, the budget that we are now tabling in front of council is the third column from the left, adjustment budget. So it shows what was our original budget, and then what is the adjustments that we did, and then the adjustment budget for the rollover that we're tabling today is indicated under the third column from the right column. There's a H. And then budget year plus one, that's for.
Speaker, go to page 164. 164, then you will see on top there, the approved budget 2021, 2022.
Okay, this is just a table that we compiled. So if we look at the budget that was approved in May, the original amount on the operational income side, for example, was 392 million. With the unspent grants and the equitable share, what we are now tabling today, there is a variance of 8.5. So that the new total for the income for this budget that we're tabling is 400. This is just to show to council why the budget changed that was improved in May to the rollover budget that we're tabling now today. So this is just a table that we internally compiled to just show the movement in the budget from the one that was approved in May, and then what did we change and what is the rollover budget now today that we are tabling for 2020-2021. So just that the councillors can see at first glance what was the budget, and that also the effect of the adjustments that we are tabling today is a zero effect on our budget because the income and the expenditure equals each other out.
Thank you, Ms. Hook. Are you covered, Alderman Verhoeven?
Can I just say something, Speaker? It's a long story, Speaker, but all I wanted to say, Speaker, we can't say about the approved budget of 2021-2022. What we need to say is the projected budget of 2022. That's all I wanted to say, Speaker. Because there it indicates that we already approved the budget for that financial year and we haven't.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Verhoeven.
Speaker?
Yes.
Just maybe why we're using the word approved budget for 2021. This is the approved budget that was approved by council in May, end of May 2020 during the council meeting. So it's not the projected budget, but this is the approved budget that council did approve in May as per legislation for the next financial year. So in May 2020, the council did approve the budget for the new financial year.
Thank you. Can we recommendation, please?
I so propose, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman.
I second, Mr. Speaker, Councillor Spies.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Thank you. Can we then move to B2, 2021-2022, the IDP budget performance management system process plan and time schedule, pages 184 to 213. Thank you, Mr. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, once again, is one of those things which we need to grapple with. And it's all based on the time frame set out in terms of law. And I hereby table it for approval, Mr. Speaker.
I second that.
Thank you, Alderman Boysen. Thank you, Lady Kessler. Ms. Matthews.
Alderman de Vries raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman de Vries.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I'm just moving to another document. Speaker, I think we should thank the Executive Mayor, and I think we should thank him in terms of submitting the IDP budget process plan in terms of legislation. Speaker, I first want to make a general statement and then ask the Mayor a question. Normally, that municipalities generally fail to consult communities, especially after the tabling of the draft budget in IDP. And normally what will you find is that...
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
Pardon, Speaker, that's my other device that are talking. And normally what find between the tabling of the budget and the final approval of the budget in IDP, the most communication or interaction will be through publicizing the draft budget in IDP in our newspapers. And there's no interactions. Now, In the document, the executive mayor outlined the IDP forum, which I think are a very appropriate structure for us to engage our communities, and which we have done in the past. And also it make provision for 4 meetings. Now, I want to direct the executive mayor on page 210. In there, it states that the IDP forum will have a meeting in November. That's meaning that we consult the IDP forum before the draft, before the tabling of the draft IDP. But then on page 211, you will find that the IDP forum meeting is scheduled for February. And then after the tabling of the budget in March, there's no interaction with the IDP forum. So my suggestion or question to the executive mayor, would it not make sense rather to have that meeting after council or after the draft budget and IDP have been tabled in council? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman de Vries. Now, these are really challenging times. We don't have to think out of the box any longer, because we don't have a box any longer. It's the new normal. There's no boxes to think out of. So there's no boxes. And strong support with that, Mr. Executive Mayor. Alderman Boyson, please respond to.
Apologies, Speaker.
Thank you.
Clarity,
Please.
Speaker.
I'm listening, Councillor Spies.
I just want to get clarity from Councillor de Vries. Is he proposing that we move the February forum meeting to after the tabling?
Speaker, that is my question. Yes, but it would make more sense because during the last quarter or the previous quarter, from November, October, we start to consult for inputs into the draft IDP, and there is a scheduled meeting. Now, council, we have workshops also before the tabling of the draft IDP, so it might change since our consultation in November and December. And hence, the question that I ask, why don't we then basically have that, or won't it make more sense to have it after the tabling of the IDP at the end of March?
Thank you for the clarity, Alderman de Vries. Thank you, Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I won't have the silver bullet answer to this, but what I can say, Mr. Speaker, is that I am open to anything that would improve consultation, but also taking into account what you've just said, that it's a new normal. I'm not even sure on how we're going to have public participation, because currently we're in a virtual state, and having people under one roof is another challenge. But whatever can work, Mr. Speaker, I'm flexible. But at this stage, even probably Councillor Alderman de Vries, can also come up with what alternatives we might suggest, because it's a new normal. We have to make use of smartphones. I'm not sure, Mr. Speaker, but I agree that if the sequence can be improved, so be it.
Thank you very much, Alderman Boyson. Acting Imam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I agree with the Executive Mayor on his response around what Alderman de Vries is raising. It would also make sense in that way, because there isn't any, as long as you are guided in terms of the different phases of the IDP, the phase that is talking about as well, the approval phase, it falls within the date that we identified. Yes, so it's still fine even that way. There's one point that I wanted to correct, Mr. Speaker, because when we prepared this process plan and then presented during the district framework meeting, where we had all the B municipalities present there, the circular that came from the national government was not out, because we said that we would make our annual report public in October, it should now change to November, and then the approval of it, it should not longer be now February 2021. It should be March 2021, in line with the circular that we recently received. So I just wanted to make those two corrections. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. We've got a proposal from Alderman Boyson.
Mr. Speaker, I would propose we go with it, taking into account the possible amendments suggested by Alderman De Vries, and then the administration can then guide us accordingly.
Thank you very much, because life happens and we grant the Executive Mayor the opportunity to make changes need be. Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Just a second for that recommendation.
I did second, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Lady Kritzinger. Can we then move to the B3 revised annual report process plan 2019-2020 financial year, budget 214 to 218. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, once again, the dates here are all thrown out of the window because of COVID-19. But we've been given extensions, Mr. Speaker, so it means that everything else that goes normally with the tabling of annual reports and anything that has to follow annual reports, I think this will take us up deep into Christmas even. Mr. Speaker, with the AG's dates also being postponed. But I hereby table this for approval, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Alderman Boyson. Executive Mayor. Seconder.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Acting Member. Lungi.
Second, Mr. Speaker.
Yabule. Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Can we then move to section C, the reports of from the Office of the Municipal Manager? C2, it's a report on the 2020-2021. It's a communication policy, pages 219 to 240. Proposal and seconder. Any input, comments, except for congratulations to our administrative staff. We had a very, very successful workshop on policies. And thank you so much for everybody that attended to that and participated in that. There you've got the recommendation.
I so propose, Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Seconder.
I second, Speaker.
Thank you so much. That's Councillor Lisa Stubel. Code of Ethics. That is an unknown councillor, so I do not recognize the last one as the invisible man. So can we proceed? Code of Ethics policy. Ethics, I think we should all agree. I think we all agree that ethics is next to religion. It should become our second religion in this country. So this is an extremely important policy, the ethics policy. And let's remind ourselves all the time of what it is to do, what is it that we should do and do it right and act at all times. Service above self for the people that we serve. You've got the ethics policy. Can I get a proposal?
I propose that we approve this.
Thank you.
I second, Councillor Strubel.
Thank you so much, Councillor Johnson. That's Councillor Johnson from Zwa. Annual performance report, C4, pages 249 to pages 381. I'm going to, yeah, there you've got it, C4. Thank you, Simon. The manager, performance management. I'm waiting for further input and discussion on this excellent report with research well done, and we only are the wiser. And for all we can see the effort that's gone into this report. Can I get input? Congratulations and thanks from my side as chairperson of the
Speaker,
Yes, please.
Speaker, we take note of this report and wish to congratulate the appropriate directorate.
Thank you so much. That Councillor Strubel. There you've got the recommendation, and with the emphasis also on our appreciation for the effort that's on, not that we're saying it's not going into every report, but we need to acknowledge excellent performance all the time. Seconder, thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Then you've got the D1. We now move to section D. It's the items from the Financial Services Department. Cost containment reporting. It's quarter 4 of 2019-2020, pages 382 to 385. You've got the report from our Executive Manager, Mr. J.W. de Jager. Thank you, Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of cost containment, we know the history where the circular comes from, and I'm also aware in terms of what the officials have been doing behind the scenes. So we want to say thank you for them in that regard, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a proposal, and I'd like councillors to come and whisper in my ear in terms of what I'll be proposing here. We also need to redirect these savings, Mr. Speaker. And the reason why I want the councillors to come and whisper in my ear is so that I can speak to the MM and with the CFO. I would suggest, Mr. Speaker, we redirect the majority of our savings, but especially these kind of savings, towards efforts to fight COVID-19. And one of the efforts to fight COVID-19 is the EPWP projects. So I would suggest and propose that this saving, when it comes up to future adjustment budgets, we put this towards COVID-19. We put, because part of the EPWP project is also to put food on the table. And then we know that because of COVID-19, a lot of our family households have lost their jobs. They will be struggling, and we can make use of the youth, just as an example, to roll out more boots on the ground to put food on the table. Then also, Mr. Speaker and councillors, the other savings we need to consider. We're no longer traveling. We're no longer staying over in hotels. There's a lot of savings in SNTs. I would suggest that we look into that as well, that we put that towards these kind of projects that would battle COVID-19. Thank you.
There you've got the challenge. The Executive Mayor invites us to whisper in his ear, and I think this is all music to our ears. So thank you, Executive Mayor, for that input. We really appreciate that a lot. Any further input? Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger.
I want to second the proposal that the mayor has just tabled. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Elder Lady Kritzinger. We've got it, Secretary. And the addition that the savings that will be generated will be. Thank you, Alderman Boyce.
I'd like Alderman Gericke and Alderman van der Hoeven and Alderman de Vries to comment on my proposals, please.
There you've got it. The floor is open. Round number 1. Bong. Who's first? Out of the
Alderman Gericke.
Hey, speed kills. Alderman Gericke.
No, Speaker, let the long service guys speak first, please. The Vries and van der Hoeven.
Now we're going to fight who's the longest.
Thank you, Elder Lady. I think they're referring to us now.
Speaker, let me take a chance.
Thank you, Alderman. It's not that the vice speaking, is that Alderman de Vries?
Yes, Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman.
Speaker, yes, I think that the Executive Mayor is correct, that we must put additional funding or savings into efforts to combat the effect and the impact of COVID-19, whereby we need to put our economy on a recovery path. So I will, just in terms of his comment on EPWP, yes, it's one program, but it should be but a bit broader definition. There might be other programs that might that we can support coming from the economic cluster meetings. There's a lot of work that are being done there in Mr. Menzies' department and also skills development. So we might have to, where the reskilling is taking place, and then vend the money or apply the money to those projects. So yes, I agree, but it should be a broader context in terms of assisting with programs that yes, put livelihoods on the table or existing saving livelihoods of people, but also seeing where can we assist in reskilling. Because there are sometimes some funding or other programs where the municipality must also give their part, and that we also look at partnerships outside of the municipality. So, you know, I support that idea.
Thank you, Alderman De Vries. I was waiting for the education, training and development. You took the bait. So I think Executive Mayor also heard that. Thank you. Alderman Gericke, the old people have spoken. It's not that.
I haven't
See?
spoken.
Oh, no, there's the Alderman. It's not Alderman, it's Alderman van der Hoeven. Thank you, Alderman.
Can I quickly have my inning speaker quick? I'm going to be quick again. My concern is the timing. If it was 2 years earlier, I would have said yes, 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 10 yeses. But now it is less than a year before the next elections, and EPW money and projects are used to campaign for election campaigning, and I'm just afraid that the DA may misuse this money for projects that in the elections. I know, Speaker, I know, I hear what you say, but I'm just alerting to that. Speaker, I really think this money can be utilized to the benefit of the community out there, and we appreciate what this mayor is saying. We must just be very careful, and that is my alert, very careful that we don't use this to buy votes, because that's going to be a serious issue. But for the rest, I am 100% behind it, but it must be a collective decision. It must be a decision where we make our input and where everyone is satisfied, and it's not one-sided drive.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. I honestly do not know if we're going to have an election for the next 10 years, perhaps, but yeah, let's proceed. Alderman Boyson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to know, we talk about savings. What are the figures? What are the amounts at present that we can say we have 1 million or 500,000 rand, and when do you want to implement this project?
Thank you very much, Councillor. Thank you, Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the current amount in front of us is 2.95 million. The saving on the item which we are dealing with, but we're convinced that there must be other savings somewhere else, Councillor, like in SNT, etc., etc. That is not in front of us. So the questions raised by yourselves would give me the mandate to go to the municipal manager and the CFO to put together all these savings so that we can have that round figure. And as the other councillors were alluded to, then we can have a look in terms of, even within EPWP, there are different sectors, you know, which can be utilized, whether it's education and training, social, we then use that. And on, I think Alderman van der Hoeven, he raised the point where we were going to stand up guns blazing, but then he came around again. So I will drop that one and I will take the advice.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alderman Executive Mayor. It reminds me in the olden days when you still had the ordinances, we also had to report on the monies unspent, not only spent on votes in terms of the budget. But yep, thank you very much, Alderman Boyson. Thank you, Ms. Matthews, for assisting me because I cannot see on the big
Mr. Speaker,
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
Mr. Speaker, yeah, I'll just allow me a minute, please. This is a brilliant idea by the mayor to utilize these savings towards the COVID-19 crisis. It is really a brilliant idea. But what I have a problem with is that since this is such a critical crisis, pandemic, that we must go and scratch in our savings to contribute something meaningful. I always have a problem when we have to fall back on reserves or on savings instead of properly budgeting or rollover or environment some money for the crisis that we are in. This crisis affects all communities across the color line, across the board, and so on. So it's just not, it doesn't make sense to me that we're just focusing on food parcels and the supply of food. There are other critical needs to the elderly, for instance, in old age homes. What can we do with regard to, alleviating the plight in squatter camps with regard to sanitizing the toilets and so on? We haven't seen such initiatives. We've seen our people going in, yes, in certain areas where they declared hotspots and so on, but we need to think out of the box in order to play or to make a meaningful contribution in this time of COVID, Mr. Mayor. I support the idea. It is a brilliant idea, but we have to avail more money. You will notice or recall that we have constantly, throughout this 5-month crisis, we have said that we must avail more money to cover more areas and to reach more people, Mr. Mayor. Please go back and see what you can do more than what we are currently doing, because we are not making a dent. With all due respect, we are not making a dent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Can I just share with you a message that I've just received from Councillor Lose? He apologizes for not being able to, to be part of this meeting. He is attending to his child. He's with his child still at the doctor, medical facility. So we wish him Godspeed, and that his child will also recover fully. Let's also keep them in our prayers. Thank you. Thank you. Can we move on to our next item? Is that D2?
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman.
Policeman, I don't, I normally don't do this, but let the mayor elaborate on what I have said, please, man. I would love to hear from the mayor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Yes, the mayor is, my apologies, Alderman Boyce, for not recognizing you. I was just responding to Councillor Lose's message here. Please proceed, Alderman Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is exactly what I wanted when I said they must whisper in my ear. They actually did it now publicly. And I take all those points into account. And I totally agree that there is much, much more we can do. And I specifically want to agree more with Alderman Gericke is that we really need to budget for EPWP as a municipality and not just depend on the grants. But it is something that I will allude further on when we deal with that item in item H3. But I do agree that that would make the cake bigger, Mr. Speaker, and not just rely on the conditional grant on EPWP. But if we add that on, it means in the next financial year, we would have a bigger cake and we would have a greater impact. I agree with that we should really budget separately for these kind of interventions.
Thank you so much, Alderman Boyce. Thank you, Executive Mayor. Can we then, are you happy, Alderman Gericke? I think we can proceed.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Alderman. Can we then move to the next report, please? Is that the one on pages 386 to 393? Thank you. Deviation report, implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period 1st of July to the 31st of July, 2020. Input, discussions on the matter?
Speaker.
I
Speaker.
thought I thought I had some applause somewhere, but can you please redo that?
Speaker,
I'm listening.
can I have a comment on this one?
Thank you, Councilman Bandesi. It's good to hear your voice again.
Yes, I'm just struggling to raise my hand, but okay, at least you can understand me. Mr. Speaker, I just want to make a comment on this one, which is, I think it's something that is positive. The fact that since 2017, 2018, 2018, 2019, and compared to this year, this financial year, which is 2019, 2020, that's the fact that there's been a vast decrease in the deviations. So that I must say that I think we must say that it should be commendable towards the administration, because I know that this is something that we were always at the beginning not happy about, the issue of deviations. So that is just the comment that I wanted to make. If you compare 2017, 2018, 19, and now, that's very positive. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councilman Bandesi. Can I ask the Secretariat, please, to move back to that graph? And let's just, yeah. I want to brag a bit because we are on YouTube live streaming. Let the country see how it's getting done.
It doesn't matter how it's not enough.
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven. I don't know if you wanted to join us. There you see it. Can we give the administration and our staff a round of applause, please, for that? Thank you. Away to. Thank you. That's safe.
Alderman Gericke raised his hand.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Yeah, Speaker, I think a person will look jealous or silly if we don't say anything about this deviation report. And this is to really commend the officials, the municipal manager and his entire team, for reducing the deviations. Remember when we came into this council in 2016, Mr. Mayor, specifically to you as well, the expenditure and the deviations were sky high. And it was a constant process of pressure, monitoring, and so on that actually reduced the deviations at the moment. So we commend the administration for the role in which they are playing. I know that Mr. Stratu is a hands-on manager. Now, you will notice on page 387, the total emergency deviations. This is where Councillor Spies tried to stop me earlier on, Mr. Speaker. Take note of the word tried to stop me. It says currently for the 1 July, no, it says deviation procured in response to COVID-19 pandemic amounts to 1.6 million rands. That's the deviations for the COVID. I shall take it that's within the 5 months or so. Now, sorry, it was just a phone call. Ms. earlier mentioned that they will come up with a comprehensive report in terms of the expenditure. And I shall take it, Ms. Hook, that this, through the speaker, that this comprehensive report will also include the suppliers and the amounts that were awarded to them, even in terms of deviations. Am I right, Ms. Hook? If you say it's right, then I will stop there, and then we will await your report then. Next.
Thank you very much, Alderman Gericke. Thank you, other lady Kurtzinger.
Yes, Chair. I'm still a bit confused. I've asked the question before. As far as item D2 and D4 is concerned, the one is 1 July 2020 to 31st of July 2020. The other one is 1 July 2019 to 30 June 2020. But the amounts, the tables with the amounts, the graphs and everything is exactly the same for both items. So I think there's something wrong between the two. Or the one item has got the wrong dates in, or the other one's got the wrong amounts in. So something is wrong between the two of them. The other item is on page 415. And then this one as D2 is on 386, but the amounts are exactly the same for the two periods, and it's impossible, it cannot be. So please, if I could still, I think we must just look at it because there must be something wrong with these two items, or with one of them.
Thank you so much, Elder Lady. I also double checked for all the schedules, and the key to me was Tata. I think it was at the top of one of the schedules, and I paged back to see if Tata was again there, not Tata like a father, like a car made in India. Thank you, Acting Emir.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I just want to give concurrence to the comment or question that was raised by Councillor Gericke first, to say that we try to be transparent in whatever we do. The information with regards to the COVID report, as he was talking about, that it will be reflective of the amount and the service providers that they used as he was prescribing. So that's the national norm as required as well when we report to the other sectors of government. I would request Mr. Mburu, who's the supply chain manager, to give response to Elder Lady Pritzinger's question.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Thanks, Acting MM. I think the issue that was raised earlier on, it was first, if you can just go up on that page 386. If you go down, the initial issue that was raised below, can you go below? Can you go down, scroll down? Scroll down again. Yeah, that total figure that was disclosed of the 4,479 and the 1629714. Now, if you combine the two figures, scroll down, it comes to the total of 6.1 million rand. The only difference that was done is that there was a separate disclosure under which for the emergency deviation for COVID was also included in there. But if you look onto the month-to-month comparison, you'll see there's a normal deviations that gives you the annual normal deviations, and then separately reports on the COVID-19 deviations.
Thank you, Elder Pritzinger. Thank you for that, Tate.
Thank you for that. But I just want to bring your attention to page 416. The same amounts are repeated on page 416 with the next item. Also for
Mr. Speaker, for order point.
Just a second, Alderman Gericke. We're listening to Elder Lady Pritzinger.
So as far as that's concerned, it's on both items, it's the same amount. Financial implications are exactly the same in both of these two items. The one is only for a month and the other one is for 12 months.
Thank you, Elder Lady. Alderman Gericke.
No, it's fine. You can move on.
Thank you.
Chair, okay, in terms of the month, the one is supposed to be the annual, and the other one is supposed to be a month. So there must have been an error there where we have to just separate, but you will see under the annual, there'll be a separate disclosure that's giving month-to-month expenditure. So we can just rectify that amount, especially where it refers to the month's deviation.
Thank you. You've got the explanation for that? Yabulela, thank you, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we must then just agree that the finance department would then look in terms of the exact, because the month amount can't be equal to the yearly amount. So they just need to rectify that in terms of their records. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor.
We've noted as well, Mr. Speaker, that it is a duplication.
Thank you, Acting MM. Can we then note it as such? Can we proceed? Can I get an assistance? We've dealt now with the deviation reports, the supplier performance report. D3.
Yep.
D3 supplier performance report, implementation of the supply chain management policy, period 1st of July 2019 to 30 June 2020, pages 394 to 414. Any input, comments? Thank you, Elder Lady Gericke. Not. Woo! I wasn't invited to that marriage. I would have loved to attend it. Thank you, Elder Lady Kurtzinger.
I'll
Mr. Speaker, this is the month of women. Huh? You mustn't make that mistake. It's a month of women.
Mr. Speaker, I'll forgive you for that. I don't think you are feeling too well, so but I'll forgive you for that. Only for today. I would just like to say that I'm very excited about this report for the simple reason that you know, when you go out as far as procuring services from businesses, that you know, we see the municipalities are coming a mile away and you're going to make a quick buck and whatever's with second class or third class service delivery that we do, and or services and procure or services that we deliver to these municipalities. So this is an excellent way of getting people off our books that are not supposed to be delivering services to municipalities or to our municipality, for the simple reason that they are not up to standard. We should insist on better quality services delivered to the municipality, because our money is just as good as anybody else in the private sector, and we have to insist on excellent service, and that's it. So I'm quite excited about this item. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elder Lady Kurtzinger. Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Mr. Digger-Meyer, would you like to come in?
No, I concur with the elder lady.
Thank you, Alderman Boysen.
Alderman Gericke raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
Mr. Speaker, whilst there's such a lot of excitement in the DA camp, there's not a lot of excitement with me in my small little PBI camp. I'll tell you why. We have requested on numerous occasions that when this report comes before council, we must at least understand the BEE level of these companies. It must be written into some column here. We still don't see it. We can get excited about the services, yes, because the services are prompt. But remember, we are also talking in terms of the transformation of the economy. And I want to call on the officials for you, Speaker, that next time, please include the BEE level so that we see where these monies are going and whether our people, the people of my skin color, do benefit from these millions and millions and millions of rand. This is a serious plea, Speaker. And I hope that we will not repeat this again in the future. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Alderman Digger-Meyer, Alderman Boysen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I agree in terms of the issue of empowering, etc., etc. But I also just want to drop a penny that empowerment should not affect quality. Because it so happens, Mr. Speaker, and I'm going to make a silly example. A car wash. We support car wash youngsters, etc., etc., because we want them to grow. But just to make an example, Mr. Speaker, you take your car, and the next thing when you get home, some of your CDs are missing. You know, so it leaves a bad taste that we really try to empower, but this is what happens to you when you empower. So I just want to make the correlation that even with suppliers, you know, standards should always be top. But it's our duty to assist if the standards are low and the potential is there within the BEE status. That I agree with, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman Boysen. Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Alderman Gericke raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
Mr. Speaker, it is, with all due respect, rather unfortunate that the mayor is drawing that example now. And it is unfortunate when CDs are stolen. I will also not go back to that place. But the issue here is we cannot generalize. If it happened at one place, it doesn't mean to say it's happening at another place. And in essence, by your statement here, in essence, this is about politics. And this is about empowering. But in essence, you have said this afternoon that quality from white businesses is much better
call. Essentially, you are quality from white businesses are much better than quality.
No, I
from
did
other
not.
businesses.
I object, Mr. Speaker. I did not say that.
I say essentially, this is what you're saying.
Can we, thank you, can we?
Are essentially saying, doing that comparison, it is rather insensitive, sir. Thank you so much.
Mr. Speaker, I spoke verbatim. I never used the word white services versus black services. I spoke verbatim.
Thank you. We are one.
Yeah, implication, you are saying that blacks are stealing from your cars. This is actually what you said.
Can we please proceed? Can we please proceed?
Yes, I propose we proceed.
We are moving. Thank you. We are now on D4 deviation report. That's the one that we also made mention of. Can we move on to section?
Yes, please, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. We are now section E, rules of order for the procedure and maintenance of order at meetings.
Speaker.
I'm listening.
Sorry, Speaker. I just nearly missed this one because I could not lift my hand again. This D4. I've got a comment on D4 that I want to make. Can I proceed?
My apologies, Councillor Mbandezi. Are you now on
D4, Speaker?
D4?
On D4, Speaker.
Yes, we've already concluded that, but I'll allow you for your input. Finally.
Yes, Speaker. I think we must not move fast because there's technology involved in these things. Okay, Speaker. On page 431, to page it's page 431 to page 432. There's 3 tenders there, which are one of them is to the value of okay, these tenders, they are indicated as have been awarded. Ne? The first one is, I think it's number 54, tender number 54. Yes, that one. Number 55 and the number 56, the 3 tenders which I'm referring to. These tenders are indicated that they have been awarded to this company, ne? But unfortunately, the service level agreement could not be concluded because the information that has been provided by the company per se was not a discount, which is the reason why this company was awarded a tender. It then appeared that at that stage, when on the finalization of the tender, that it was not a discount, but it was a premium. Now, Mr. Speaker, now according to this report, these tenders therefore will not be awarded or have not been awarded to this company. I just want to understand that something like this cannot lead to us being taken to court by this company or by any other company in future on the basis that an expectation being created that a company has been awarded a tender only because of our, maybe I don't know if I must say of our fault, that we did not understand what the tenderer meant by discount or by premium, then we assumed it's a discount. Can that not lead us to be taken to court? I want a clarity on that. Thank you, Speaker.
Clarity seeking question. Councillor Mbande, acting in.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Mburu will be able to explain this.
Thank you.
Thanks, Acting MM. Through you, Mr. Speaker. This matter has been settled. There was a misunderstanding in terms of how the bidder structured their tender. I can give you an example. He would have asked us to pay 50%, 50 cents premium on every liter that we buy, whereas everybody else was given discounts. I mean, the lowest discount that we're getting for a liter of diesel, for example, was 28 cents a discount on every liter that's been sold to us. Therefore, when we saw clarity with him and we realized that he hadn't offered us a discount, but it was actually asking us for a premium, he then agreed that yes, it's impossible that he could have won the tender on that basis, and he agreed that he would recuse himself as his offer was not the best. So this engagement, while this transaction was happening, there was a thorough engagement with legal as well to make sure that everybody was on the same footing. And when we parted ways in terms of we agreed this is what the status quo is. The issue that you're finding here in terms of this particular deviation is as well that we're still negotiating in terms of the assets of Total, in terms of the maintenance and the long-term ownership of the assets. Hence, it took a bit of a while to be able to finalize the SLA as well. And in the interim, because the SLA was not signed, we had to disclose it as a deviation, as the AG will not accept the transaction as a normal transaction unless the SLA was in place already. Hence, you see it being disclosed as a deviation here. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you,
Can
sir.
I follow up, Speaker?
Yes, please.
Speaker, I hear the explanation. It's okay with me, né? But however, the point that I'm trying to make is that hearing the explanation is that we have started by awarding a tender, creating expectation. Then thereafter, we realize before at the stage whereby we are about to sign a service level agreement, we realize that and at the time of seeking clarity, only at that time did you seek clarity, if I understand very well. Why did we start by creating? I'm trying to say that a difficult client can make things difficult for us, you see, and lodge a dispute on the basis that a tender is awarded, then thereafter we're changing on this basis that we have picked up. So I'm trying to say that what we need to be careful about is to, before we award a tender, let's look at things that need clarity before we start by saying we are awarding a tender to these people. You see, if we did that, we would not be in this. That's what I'm trying to caution, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Thank you.
Speaker, maybe if I may take a last bite of this, if you allow me. I think to our benefit, what stopped the service level agreement from being signed was actually the supplier that realized that they had made a mistake, an error in terms of how they disclosed their pricing. And therefore, they did not want to sign this SLA because they did not agree. They realized in error, they had disclosed it in the column where it was meant to be a discount and they had put in a premium. So as a result, we had a better footing to say, but this is the discount that you have disclosed. And he realized he was not going to be able to honor that. So it was not an error as far as we are concerned. It was simply an error in terms of the supplier, how they completed the document, and not being in full understanding of how they were completing the document.
Yeah, case closed.
I'm covered, Speaker.
Case closed. Thank you. Thank you for the cautionary input. Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Alderman Gericke raised his hand.
Alderman Gericke.
Mr. Speaker, can I ask your grace? Can I leave this meeting now? My phone is going to die anytime now. And I need to get to another room to charge this phone. Also for the meeting at 4. If you will excuse me. If not, I will have to make another plane, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Alderman Gericke. We know what it feels like. You are excused. Can we please move to the next item? We still
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Amagahle, Iwan, rules of order. It's a policy until such time as we're comfortable that we've panel beat it. And through practice makes perfect. Until such time we can test drive it. It's a demo model that we've got here. We're satisfied after the first or 30,000 K, we can make it a bylaw. Are we fine with the policy? The rules of order?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kissinger. Thank you, Councillor Sir Johnson. Can we proceed? Human Resources Policies from the Corporate Services Department. Pages 515 to 609. Executive Manager, Elshausen and her team, and our acting municipal manager, municipal manager for future purposes. Hola, our advocate Mukakeni. You must please invite me when you get that promotion as municipal manager one day. Thank you. Can we then consider the proposal and second for these policies? Thank you, Elder Lady Gutzinger.
Yes, we can.
I second,
Thank
Speaker.
you so much. Then can we move to the report on the amendment of the micro-organizational structure of our district municipality, pages 610 to 612. E3. Thank you, Alderman Boyson. Sorry, Boyens. I don't know what's wrong. I think it's these elect polls that I'm taking are getting confused. My apologies, Alderman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this item is one of the items where I know, especially the B municipalities would ask a lot of questions going forward, because this is a function which they are executing as we speak. And Mr. Speaker, this goes hand in hand, councillors, with our application to be a level 1 accredited human settlements accredited district municipality, which would again make us the first in the country if this accreditation has been awarded. But Mr. Speaker, this is for council to approve, and this is for council to show intent to the Department of Human Settlements for when we do get the accreditation, we are ready. But I know, Mr. Speaker, this is a working document. It will change as we go along because there will be financial implications. But safe to say, councillors, that currently we are engaging the Department of Human Settlements in terms of them funding some of these positions, similar to what is currently happening with the roads department, because we're going to become a housing agent. So the budget will come from province anyway for us to deal with this. So we're trying to get as much as possible out of province so that we can have minimal expenditure when the time comes for us to advertise these positions. Also to say, Mr. Speaker, is that currently province are giving us warm bodies to assist us in the transition, which they are currently paying for these individuals. And then, Mr. Speaker, also from provincial side to show intent that they appreciate our efforts, they will give us the permission and the funding to, in the meanwhile, to be able to dislodge and to distribute title deeds on behalf of the local municipalities, because we are aware that the local municipalities are struggling to get title deeds for people. So we will then get into that space to relieve them, because eventually it will become part of our function. And then also the reason why we're jumping at this is also that national government will stop the funding to access title deeds as of next year. So we want to assist the B municipalities whilst we can. Thank you.
No, soos die Afrikaans spreker sê kry hoendervleis if I think about those title deeds, the transfer of empowerment. And Mr. Meyer, from my side, I really would like to applaud to say that let's rather act and then fail than fail to act to the improve of the lives of the people that we serve. We cannot for 1 second not act to the best interest and improve and economic empowerment, if I may. Thank you. There you've got it. The item report on the micro-organizational structure, pages 610, 612. There you've got the proposal. Work in progress.
I propose that we go with recommendation, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor Johnson.
I second that, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Elder Lady Pomerantz. Can we move? Thank you. Section F, items from the Community Services Department. Report on the policy framework for disaster management, volunteers. Find it on pages 613 to pages 644. Input, comment on the report?
It was workshop, Mr. Speaker. I propose we go with it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alderman
Second,
Boyd.
Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor Johnson. Hats off to all volunteers all the time. I mean, it's a selfless about self. So yes, thank you. Can we move then to the effective clearing and management of illegal dumping in COVID-19 hotspots? This is the first phase at Thembale 2, and I will try to pronounce it at Pekhousdorp. Not what I heard is not Pakhaus, they said Pekhousdorp. So Pekhousdorp, there you've got it. Thank you, Alderman Boysen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Councillors, once again, this is a standing item in the extended cabinet provincial meetings. And the reason why it's a standing item there, it's when we're dealing with the COVID pandemic. The health sector have found that illegal dumping and the health issues born out of illegal dumping also contribute highly to the COVID-19 issue and people being exposed to that. And we then engage the local municipalities in terms of the clearing and the cleaning up of illegal dumping. And we've realized, Mr. Speaker, that it is a huge challenge, and these municipalities, they will never have enough money to deal with it. Even those who did budget, it is too little. We then saw it fit, Mr. Speaker, because eventually solid waste management is a district function, so we cannot fold our arms. So we want to assist the local municipalities in terms of where they don't have the plants like front loaders and digger loaders and tipper trucks. We're engaging the Department of Public Works to see that if we can't get some funding for such plants, where we would then go in and assist the local municipalities whilst they're busy with something else, or whilst they're busy in another ward and there's a crisis in another ward, we can then jump in and assist, Mr. Speaker. But for now, Mr. Speaker and councillors, this is only during this period where we will concentrate on the hotspots, because we do know where the hotspots are, but it's also a long-term post-COVID-19 strategy that we, on a rotational basis, we will get into each and every municipality within our jurisdiction, where we will go and assist them to clear. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor Alderman Boysen. Any input, comments? Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Thank you, Nathan.
Alderman van der Werven raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven.
Speaker, you must look for my hand, please, Speaker. I don't want to. I don't want to come in on
My apologies, I cannot see your hand. I'm being informed by the Secretariat for people that would like to speak. Thank you, Alderman.
I will interrupt anyone, but not you, Speaker. I really don't want to do that.
I really appreciate you.
Speaker, can I speak?
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven.
Yes, Speaker. Here the district must fulfill its role as the strategic enabler. Specifically, Speaker, in the George municipality, the illegal dumping that is taking place, and seemingly there is no political will. I don't think we need finances. I think there must be a political will, and there is no political will to deal with the issue. If you go into Thembale, you go into the informal settlements in Pekhousdorp, you go, except from town. In town they will get the green award every time. But in the township, Speaker, it is a disaster second to none. Please, Speaker, let this administration fulfill its strategic enable role to make sure that B municipalities abide and assist where necessary and report where things are getting out of hand.
Thank you so much, Alderman van der Werven. I think, thank you, Alderman. We are doing exactly that, illustrating the political will to change the world around us.
Alderman De Vries raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman De Vries. Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Speaker, thank you. This initiative should be supported and must be commended by the District Council. So the full support in terms of this. But Speaker, my issue is about what do we do and how can we assist in terms of the issue about one, prevention, but for me more important is consequences. recently in Knysna, it was reported that there was dumping of medical waste. Now, during the issue around COVID-19, that can be a real tragedy in terms of what can happen if people came into contact with the medical waste. But my question to the executive mayor is that what can we do in terms of to ensure there's consequences? It seems that people continue dumping, especially I want to focus on medical waste. And you don't read about anyone being arrested. You don't read about anyone being charged or convicted. And at times it seems that the community sometimes are able to point out who these culprits are in terms of dumping. So just in terms of, yes, we commend what we're doing, but also assisting municipalities that we actually ensure there's consequences and actually even where we can prevent it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alderman de Vries. I think perhaps we should arrange a Zoom meeting with Rwanda, because that country is beautiful and clean. Thank you, Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I agree with the issues raised by Alderman de Vries. And I think, Mr. Speaker, at one stage, if we can travel, I think we need to go and see what is happening in Midvaal. I think in Midvaal, it's a whole of society approach where the community, they inform the municipality, they take pictures, they do whatever if they see somebody illegally dumping. And I think the municipality then, they go, they clear, and they put those costs towards the account of the people who have been illegally dumping with the relevant proof. So people must start feeling it. I agree.
Name and shame. And, you know, it's funny what you can find in a rubbish heap. You find addresses, names, and specific people, and they are the culprits. Thank you so much, Alderman Boyson. Can we proceed on that item? Thank you.
Hello, Speaker. It's Johan Kompion here. Just from my side, from a municipal health point of view, I just want to raise that on the question of Councillor Alderman de Vries. It is our responsibility to monitor that. And if there's such an illegal dumping scenario within each area, please let us know about that so that we can follow it up and maybe do something about that. That is our responsibility to make sure that the public health is not at stake. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kompion. And, you know, we must also say thank you to, I know it's Mr. Africa as also the team leader, but also you are very, you know, you're silent, but things are happening wherever you are. And thank you for that as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can we then proceed to the item F3, update report on the actions taken by the District COVID-19 Command Council to address the COVID-19 pandemic, pages 671 to 709. Thank you, Mr. Gerard Otto, Manager, Disaster Management. And thank you, Mr. Africa. Please proceed.
The updated report, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, as usual, I normally at the council meeting give you the latest update, and I will quickly go through the latest update for you. The total number of positive patients for the district today is 8,582. That is now the total that was up until today. 1 week ago, it was 7,479. There are now 173 active cases per 100,000 of population. If we look at this compared to a week ago, we're down from 231. When we compare this to Cape Town, then we are still much higher. Cape Town at this point is on 74. In our region, the two areas of highest concern and areas with most cases per 100,000 of population is Oudtshoorn and Mossel Bay. Then if I look at the growth in the last week, then it is 87% of the previous week. So there's still a decline in cases for our district. Then in terms of admissions to hospital, there's currently 94 patients in hospital, with 27 of them in critical care. And the total number of fatalities for today is 273. I will provide a breakup of that just now. Unfortunately, we are seeing old age homes being affected, and there's a focus specifically for old age homes. And one of the areas where we are investigating is we can't use the Red Dot taxi service to transport workers that works at these old age homes and these frail care facilities to avoid them using public transport. We're still awaiting an outcome of costs in that regard. And then with regards to efforts from the Department of Health, they are now strengthening their chronic disease management. They're specifically focusing on people with the comorbidity diabetes, because they've seen that most of the fatalities, people with comorbidities diabetes is affected adversely. So that is where they are focusing their efforts at this point. Then in terms of just a breakup of each town, I will give you a full breakup now. For Issaquah, the total of COVID positive people is 268. Of that, 44 is still active. 210 has recovered. The total for today is 14 fatalities. There's 3 people in hospital in Issaquah. None of them is in a critical care facility. For Issaquah, the active cases per 100,000 of population is 89. Previously, it was 80. And the total cases per 100,000 of population is 499. For Mossel Bay, the total COVID, 2,049. Active at this point, 245. Recovered, 1,745. Fatalities, 59. 2 people in hospital, no people in the ICU unit. For Mossel Bay, cases per 100,000 is on 260. Previously, it was 306, and then total cases per 100,000 of population is 2,141. George, we're on 3,228. Active cases, 283. Recovered, 2,857. Fatalities, 88. People in hospital, total 55. And then 25 of them is in a critical care facility. 135 active cases per 100,000 of population. 147 of the previous amount. 1,534 is the total cases per 100,000 of population. In George, I must also indicate to you, I've looked at the fertility figures as well because they've got the most fatalities. There's 88 fatalities in George, as I've indicated, and of those, 50% of the fatalities is in the areas Pakkelsdorp and Thembalethu, with Pakkelsdorp at 14 and Thembalethu at 30. Knysna is on 1,328. Active is 114. Recovered 1,174. Fatalities 40. 18 people in hospital, 0 in ICU. In Knysna, the active cases per 100,000 of population is 166. Previously, this was 211. The total cases per 100,000 of population is 1,728. For Pito, we are on a total of 556 with 46 active cases, 78 recovered, 1 fatality. 73 per 100,000 of population is active. 99 was that previous figure. And then total cases per 100,000 of population, 831. For Kannaland, we are now on a total of 100 with 21 active, 78 recovered, and 1 fatality. For Kannaland, we're on 116 per 100,000 of population active cases. 120 was that previous figure, and then total cases per 100,000 of population is 440. In Oudtshoorn, we're on 1,053 with 228 active cases, 715 recovered, 50 fatalities, 16 people in hospital, 2 of them in critical care or high care facility, and then the active cases, this is the alarming one, is on 308 per 100,000 of population, and that used to be 279. So that you can see is an increase. And then total cases per 100,000 of population is 1,382. Then for this week, community screening and testing was done in George, Ntembaletu, Rosemore and Uniondale. And week on week, I will provide feedback to the MICO members of where the next week's CST will be done. When we look at our isolation facility, for today, we have got 44 people in isolation in the Petro SA facility, which is 29% of what we can deal with in that venue. Then for the entire period up to now, we've done 149,019 screenings and 1,305 referrals. At this point in time, there's no more backlog in tests, so the tests is all up to date. And what I want to indicate to council is that seroprevalence testing, that is now prevalence test, seroprevalence testing uses antibody tests to estimate the percentage of people in the population who have antibodies against the SARS virus. They will now be rolled out by the Department of Health. Up to now, they were testing for active viruses. Now the seroprevalence testing, which is faster, will also give us an idea of how far we've come with herd immunity. For the first time, the critical care unit of the George Hospital is now not running at full capacity. And in general, it is showing a decrease right through our district when we look at our critical care facilities. Last night, just to give you an update on the sheltering of homeless and the feeding. Last night at the workshop, humanitarian work stream, we were informed by Dr. Robert McDonald, as well as MEC Fernandez, that 2 million will be made available to assist with the feeding of people sheltered in the shelters for the homeless. They're also busy working on an action plan to specifically address the concerns in terms of the homeless. And then they've also submitting to Cabinet now a funding request to fund food parcels to feed people that is in self-isolation. In addition to these, I have provided to the Secretariat updates of our hotspot maps. Rihanna, I'm not sure if you can share those. That is the report, the update report that I've provided. But be that as it may, if you can't see them on the screen, I will just speak to them. As I've indicated, our major hotspots, obviously George remains a hotspot area, but then Oudtshoorn and Mossel Bay at this point. If we look at George specifically, Thembaletu, Borchards and Pacaltsdorp. If we look at Mossel Bay, Kwangaba and De Almeida. If we look at Oudtshoorn, Bridgeton and Bongoletu. And then lastly, we're also updating a fertility map now for the district. And if I look at the fatalities for the district up to this point, it is clear that it's mostly in our informal settlement areas where we've had most of our fatalities. In George, we're standing at 88 and followed by Mossel Bay by 59 and Oudtshoorn already on 50. And that is specifically with regards to fatalities for the area. That's my feedback, Speaker. I'm not sure if the Secretariat can provide you with the talking points, but that would give you a bit more background.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gerard Otto. Can I please thank you so much for your presentation. We really appreciate it. Before I open it up for any discussion or input, can I please ask, I would just like to check if we still got a quorum. Rihanna, can you please just check, because we've received applications for leave of absence from this meeting as from 4 o'clock or 16 hours. Councillor Tacy, Councillor Gericka, the other councillors as well. I would just like to check if we still got a quorum. Can we please do that? Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Can you assist us? Advocate.
In the meantime, can I ask something?
Speaker, we have 20 councillors online. 3 in the council chamber.
25? Are we saying that we've got 25 councillors still present? Let's proceed. We still got a quorum. Thank you for your indulgence for me just checking on that. Thank you so much, Mr. Otto. Any input, comments on the presentation by Mr. Otto?
Speaker, can I say something?
Yes, please, Alderman van der Hoeven. Please do.
The input from Mr. Otto was completely comprehensive, and I have not further questions. I just didn't hear the facilities at Hesekwa and at Vito. If you can just repeat that, then I will not labor the issue any further.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoofen.
Should I repeat that quickly?
And the last speaker, please repeat yourself.
Speaker, the facilities at Hesekwa and at Vito.
Thank you. The facilities at Hesekwa and Vito. Would you like?
Speaker, I will repeat that. The fertility in Hesekwa is 14, and Vito is 21.
Thank you very much, Mr. Otto. Are you covered, Alderman van der Hoofen?
I am more than covered. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. I would like Councillor Fry, Elder Lady Kurtzner.
Speaker, I've raised my hand.
Please proceed.
Just to make, I just want to make a correction regarding the land. We do have two in ICU, the Mayor Berry and Councillor Donson. They are both in ICU. The Councillor Don just recovered from his coma, but he is still in ICU.
Thank you. Is that a comment or a question? Comment?
No, it's only a correction I've made, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor Johnson. Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Councillor Spies raised his hand.
Councillor Spies, please proceed.
Yes, Speaker, I would just once again like to congratulate our disaster team and community services on the work they've done throughout this period. Thank you very much, Mr. Otto, for a very comprehensive report. I would just like to urge you, I know you are making plans, but keep us in the loop on the proactive actions you will take. You know, now with the weather getting better and people and us being on level 2, people are going to assume that everything's okay, everything's hunky-dory. Can we please implement a communication plan as well to when people start going out to parks and braaiing and having rugby is going to start soon and all of these things. Can we please keep a lid on this? I really don't want to get to December and be locked down again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Please, just to say that Alderman De Vries also excused himself. Just take note of that. Is that Councillor Puto?
Speaker?
Thank you. Councillor Johnson?
No, it's Councillor Johnson here. Just another comment, Speaker. Just a request to Mr. Gerard Otto. Can you please provide us per B municipality, take all the COVID hotspots in our municipal areas? Seeing that the last month we have, I think we have update where it's been shown on dashboard per area, like Delmay and that stuff. The same we did with Kanalante, Calisdorp, so that we as municipality or councillors could know, understand which area in our municipalities current hotspots that we have.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Thank you, Alderman Boyson. Executive Mayor.
Now, Mr. Speaker, I was just going to say the map which Gerard provides to us also assists greatly. And then also at the DCF level, these are things that we engage the mayors and the municipal managers on as well. But I think each municipality can have their own methods of communicating, which can be improved, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Alderman Boyson. Yeah, that map I always try to figure where is Reebok. So I think it's there in between the red spot and the smaller red spot, there where the whales are. Yeah.
Speaker,
Thank you, Alderman van der Westhuizen.
Speaker, just on the map, can I say something?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, the Secretariat shares the update report with you. I have actually unpacked each area's map in that report, and it gives you the names of the areas too. So once Rihanna forwards that to you on email, then you can look at those. I've unpacked each of the hotspots in detail.
Thank you so much, Gerrit. Thank you, Councillor Fry. Sorry, Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to ask one question. I see now someone mentioned that the provincial government is going to 2 million to etc. But what I want to know, those in George, for example, who have these IRIS, how do we support them themselves? Some of them already have lost their jobs. And what kind of assistance do we give to the family? For example, trauma support, etc. So what kind of assistance are we giving to them? Food parcels was mentioned. Are we also doing that in relation to the municipalities?
Thank you so much, Councillor Harris. That's a question. Any further input out of questions or clarity of information needed by any councillor? Please do. It's now your opportunity. And again, I would like to thank everyone for the information being shared. I think really, I've shared this type of information as far as my old hometown. Thank you, Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know the doctors within the health sector, the Compions of this world, and the up-and-coming doctors, the Mr. Ottos, they will also allude to in terms of the other emotional assistance, because I know there's emotional assistance as well. But what I want to raise here, Mr. Speaker, is that we've now also changed the focus to food security. Councillor Harris raised the issue of food parcels. It is not sustainable. And there's already more than 150 food gardens within the garden route. We actually would like to encourage all the local municipalities to encourage food gardens, and we and they can actually even assist in getting like your JoJo tanks where there's no water, buy the seeds, etc. Assist, Mr. Speaker. So that is the other focus which we can concentrate on, and we should not be shy actually to spend in assisting people to get that, because a garden goes a very, very long way. And with the cost of a food parcel, for instance, I would say it goes for 400 Rand. You can use that and you can spread that and have sustainable gardens throughout. So I would not shy away in terms of coughing out money from the mayor's office. I'm just making an example, to assist with a food garden if the need arises. But we should actually encourage that.
Thank you. You covered, Councillor Harris. Rather give a fishing rod than a fish. Thank you, Alderman Boyson. We noted with appreciation and thanks to our manager, disaster management, Mr. Gerrit Otto, and Mr. Clive Africa, the executive manager. Thank you. Can we then move to section H? Section G, there we don't have any reports on the Roads and Transport Planning Services Department. Less to say that, yes, I'm sure that Councillor Spies, although there's no report on that section today on the agenda, but I really think that we also experience challenges in terms of the rural areas of the gravel roads that we will service due to this COVID-19 pandemic. I think there are some of our staff that is in self-isolation and or quarantine, perhaps, that really has an impact or negative effect on our service delivery regards gravel roads. I know as a ward councillor, I also even received phone calls 9:30 on Sunday evening to say that we're busy harvesting. What can you do about our roads? And I said, can I remind you of the pandemic that we are currently fighting? So please bear with us. Circumstances have definitely changed. Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Speaker, Councillor Ivan Mangaliso is requesting to be excused from this meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Mangaliso. We are very thankful. Praise the Lord that you are also attending our meeting today and that you've recovered from your health challenges. Thank you so much. Can we then move? Section H is an agreement to develop, manage, and operate Kleinkrans property, pages 710 to page 805. Thank you, Alderman Executive Mayor, Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and I hope Councillor Mapitiza is still in this meeting. He's been asking in every meeting in terms of how far are we, what are we doing. Now, Mr. Speaker, I would like to say this to the councillors, this item in particular, that this be the yardstick of everything that needs to follow and everything that is in the pipeline. We've learned out of a few mishaps in the previous items that dealt with immovable properties. I think this is the opportunity now for us in the Garden Route to do where our mouths and resolutions are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Speaker.
Thank you.
Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Mapitiza.
Good day, Speaker. Good day to the colleagues. I'm sure the executive may have read my mind. I was just somehow one of the other days sharing with my chief whip that the manner in which we attempt to deal with the semi-privatization of this resort seeks to remind me of how the central government is battling into normalizing the SOEs. I would believe, Mr. Mayor, these resorts are somehow our SOEs. So I'm very grateful that we are making a stride and as this fourth administration of local government, that at least we're going to leave legacy behind, as that we did not spend 5 years trying to find a solution. How do we turn around a resource of that of those into a business practice? But Speaker, I cannot leave it without having one or two questions. My first question is, does the company that we finally agreed upon conform to the transformation agenda? Meaning, does that company have a BEE partner? Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Mapitiza. So any further input, comment? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Mr. Speaker, and thanks. There was a partner that they have initially when they came in to make their presentation here. It's quite a big company, and it's also got international footprint as well. So they've made some realistic submissions to us as a municipality, and hence it was considered amongst the others that are competitively bid for this project.
Thank you, Mr. Enzi. Thank you, Alderman Boyson.
Mr. Speaker, I do believe this is not the end of this project, because after this public participation, there will be some other engagements, but the officials would know more. And I think during that process, Mr. Speaker, there will also be other opportunities in terms of us indicating so what's contained in the lease agreements going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Alderman Wilson, Executive Mayor.
I also so propose that we go with the recommendations.
We've got the
I
proposal.
second the proposal.
Thank you very much, Councillor Johnson. We are now at H2, pages 806 to 813, Housing Implementation 111, Level 1, Application Progress Report. Thank you, Mr. Menzi and Mr. Donge. Thank you, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would propose, and between myself and the municipal manager, again, to go on a roadshow to the local municipalities, that they don't misconstrue what we're trying to achieve here.
There you've got it from the Executive Mayor, Alderman. Thank you.
Second this proposal.
There is a seconder. Was that Councillor Johnson? Yes.
Yes, Speaker, that's correct.
Thank you so much, Councillor Johnson. Yeah, Councillor Johnson can teach some of us how to retain your energy from 5 o'clock in the morning until late in the afternoon. I've never seen, yeah, not never, but yeah. I don't know if it's Baraka or what energy takes, but you know, there's always just some more energy left. When you think, nah.
They cook fruit, Mr. Speaker. They cook it and they drink the juice of that fruit.
And I don't think
I think it's in the herbs that we drink here.
Stuur bietjie daai resep aan asseblief. Dankie. Thank you. Thank
Selfs
you.
so maar, Speaker, as ek jou weer sien, sal ek jou sommer 'n sak krye bring.
No, we'll have to visit Zoar. No, thank you so much, Councillor Johnson. Thank you. Can we then move on to the next report, H3, report on the expanded Public Works Program, EPWP. It's the annual performance for the Garden District Municipality on the targets for the Phase 4 Protocol Agreement. So you've got it, pages 814 to 823. And I see we've got on it. I wondered, you know, when we started, yes, we always welcome our unions that also represent our employees, be part of the family, our brothers and sisters. And I see all smiles here, and I don't know if it's, must I now grant opportunity to a union to address us on this issue? Or can I borrow you another T-shirt for the council meeting today? But there you've got the report with appreciated and thanks. Thank you. I see that there's Ms. Matthews.
Councillor Mapitiza raised his hand.
Councillor Mapitiza, and I think Mr. Janchi, you know, it's used to sit on that side of the table. I used to burn, like say, brand, got a net prat. So I want to speak. But thank you, Councillor Mapitiza, and then we'll allow, if that's fine with you, Acting Imam, Mr. Janchi, to entertain us and to share the wisdom of this report with us. Thank you, Councillor Mapitiza.
Oh, thank you, Speaker. I want to join and echo the same. In fact, applaud the mayor for proposing savings from the EPWP and the SNT, the matter that he raised earlier on during our meeting. And I also want to echo the same sentiments that my chief whip, Alderman Van der Hoven, have raised with regard to the issue that we should not politicize the EPWP. And the point that the surety that I want to get from the executive mayor in particular is that we seemingly not been so much innovative. And I think number of speakers that spoken earlier have alluded to the fact that the food parcels had its own challenges, and it did not. Well, it's good for a short period to address the issues, but we need to create a sustainable communities. And so the issue that I want to propose is that as a district, we should also embark in terms of introducing the food security program, in particular in the poorest of the poor family areas, so that these communities begin to sustain themselves.
Thank you, Councillor Mapitiza. Thank you. Any further input or comment? Or can I give Mr. Danji an opportunity to address us, Acting MM? Thank you. Please proceed, Ndati.
Thank you, Speaker. Alderman, Executive Mayor, thank you for the opportunity, and the councillors. We normally receive the EPWP annual performance report, and this report is for the past financial year 2019-20, and it's reflecting all 7 municipalities in the district. As the protocol agreement is required, the district to be chairing the district municipal forum, and under that we are then required to assist the municipalities which can comply with certain requirement of the grants. And to perhaps look in that report, the 2 municipalities to be specific, Bito and Neisner, one can see they are struggling to spend their grant allocation. Currently, we are assisting Bito. There's a task team. As a district, we are involved. We also coordinating meeting with National Public Work on the 2nd of next month, and the 3rd, that will include Neisner also, to address the challenges which they are facing, as indicated in this report. In the district, the report is indicating in general, all municipalities have done well, and we believe as a district we can do more. Executive Mayor, there's a report which was requested by National Public Work, where they are asking the possible solution which we can advise. And in that report, we also share some views of the district approach, perhaps as a district approach, because if we lose money from one of the municipalities, that money is lost in the entire district. We don't get that money back. But our proposal is that when nationally, if one of the municipalities did not perform, that money should come to a district so that we should be able to create more work opportunities. But from my point of view, when I was requested to start in this expanded public work, it was in short, it was in the gutter, and we took it out because of the leadership of this council. And I'm thankful to sit here, and thankful for the executive manager, Mr. Menza, and the MM himself, Mr. Strato, for leading us, Speaker, to make sure that we are creating work opportunities, we are creating partnership with National Public Work colleagues and the municipalities. That is it in short for me, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dan. Mr. Mayor.
Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson.
Speaker, just want to congratulate Mr. Janchi, Mr. Datla, the Mayor and MM for doing more than they should do. Currently, Garden Roots EPWP is doing more than that any other municipality is currently doing to create more opportunities for all. So that's my congratulations to all the team players for doing more than the above. Congratulations in order, sirs.
Thank you so much, Councillor Johnson. Thank you so much. We appreciate it a lot. I think we almost reached the end of our meeting. except for approving the minutes in closed session, which we had on the 25th of July. Can we do that in closed session, just to consider the minutes in closed session? If there's no input or comment on the minutes itself, can I get a proposal and a seconder for the approval of the minutes in closed session?
Proposed, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Seconder.
I will second.
Councillor Johnson, thank you. Then that concludes the business of the day, and let me take this opportunity to thank everybody participating, and not only participating in this meeting, but also for the preparation of presenting us with an agenda. We can be extremely proud of you and ourselves. By ourselves, I really truly mean our precious staff. I always refer to our precious staff because they are precious to us, as well as our councillors. We are one mean team. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your political leadership and for your leadership otherwise. I think it's not an easy job in the circumstances, more specifically today, the circumstances that we currently experience. And thank you so much for all your effort. I see 24/7 you are the executive mayor of the district. That we really would like to take this opportunity to thank you specifically for all that you're doing for us and our people. And to everybody else, may you travel safe, keep safe, stick to the rules, wash your hands, don't hug one another except for those in your house. Yeah, I know one day we will be able to hug one another again, but let's just do it like this. So we know the rules, let's stick to them, and let's support those currently experiencing the challenges of COVID-19. There is Councillor Albie Rousseau.
Speaker, I'm just waving goodbye to you all.
I hope it's not permanent. I hope you'll be
No,
back.
no, hopefully not.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much.
Laat ek ook dan maar wy.
You're looking good in green, Councillor Spies. Thank you.
Bye, Speaker.
Adelaide.
Bye-bye, Speaker. Bye-bye, colleague. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone. Sarah Hantle, Samay Hantle, Bohulo, Kelebohile. Diabule, I forget. And Rihanna Matthews, Element. Thank you to our secretariat, everybody. Thank you.